Hi guys, David here. In today's video I'm going to talk about sanding, and in particular hand sanding and how to sand wood by hand. So let's get into it. Okay, one of the most common tasks in sanding we have is usually just a flat, straight piece of wood. This piece is very rough. If I just take a piece of sandpaper, now it doesn't matter which piece of sandpaper, this is a round piece from a machine, but it really doesn't matter. Take a piece of sandpaper and I want to sand by hand. It's not very comfortable, it's slipping around and I can't grab hold of it. And also my fingers aren't particularly flat. If I want to get this flat, I should use something flat like a block of wood. I can simply hold it on here and sand away, or I can take a stapler. You don't have a stapler, so just hold on to it. And I can pop a couple of staples in, put it nice and tight. And I made myself a sanding block. Now it's going to be much easier for me to sand this piece of wood. Okay, now something you should know about sanding. Wood's got grain and fibres running along the length of it. You want to sand with the grain. If you sand across the grain, you can remove quite a lot of material, but you're going to get scratches across the grain, which are going to be very hard to get rid of. So if you sand with the grain, you're going to get a much, much better result. Now, this paper's 60, it's a rough paper, and I don't know if you can see that, I hope so, but I've already took off the marks from the sawmill, and it's getting much smoother. Okay, so all well and good when you're sanding a flat piece, you need a flat sanding block, but that's not always the case. Sometimes your furniture parts or whatever you're making have got curves like this, you might have holes and all different shapes that you might want to be sanding. So in this case you're going to need not a straight sanding block, because it's not going to get in there. You're going to need a sanding block the shape of your part. Now, you could use the offcut if it's available. That's the piece that was cut off there. And you could use this to sand inside. You're going to have to attach some sandpaper on it. So you could just take a thin belt of sandpaper. This is off an old belt sander. So you can just take a piece from an old belt sander. And if you don't personally have a belt sander, so I'm sure one of your neighbours, or you can go to the local industrial area and find a workshop that will give you a little bit of sandpaper like this, and then you can just staple that the same as we did with the straight block. I'm not going to do it now. You can staple that onto there, and you can use that now to sand your curved parts. And the opposite as well, you might need to sand something like this. So you can make sanding blocks to fit the shape of the work that you need to sand. If you've got a hole, for example, take an old broomstick and put some sandpaper on it, and then you can sand inside the hole. This is really nice. This can also sand all sorts of radiuses. So you can sand a radius with a round rod. You can use a bigger one. So basically, you can make sanding blocks to fit the work that you're working on, and this will enable you to sand all your parts efficiently and nice and smooth. Another scenario is that maybe your workpiece is very, very small, and trying to hold on to your workpiece and sand it away, it's not always so comfortable. So what I find is better, I take a large block of wood like this with sandpaper on it, and this works also as a handle on big pieces, but also it works like a bench hook. I can hook this on the edge of my bench, and now I can hold the small piece and keep the sandpaper static, and I can sand away and really work on small pieces much more comfortably. You don't have to have a fancy belt sander, you can work like this. Okay.
Got time.
Okay guys, thanks ever so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and you maybe learned something new. If you liked it, please like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and ring that little bell and you'll get to know when I put up more videos. I'm going to be continuing with this series of videos on sanding, and the next one we're going to talk a little bit more about machines and different ways of sanding. So, see you in the next one. Bye for now.